Hiya, welcome back to Scundered with me, Teresa Livingstone, the podcast about embarrassing stories. My guest today is a little bit of a genius. Alex McMillan, who is sitting right next to me, is, I'm going to have to take a deep breath before all of these, a quiz writer, a game designer, a comedian. They've worked on, I'm just going to list some of the actual game shows that Alex has written for. Only Connect, Bridge of Lies, House of Games, The 1% Club, Tipping Point, I love it. Tipping Point, the list goes on, but most famously, and my favourite is that Alex is the game designer and host of the Touts in Belfast, which is are we allowed to say it's a parody or a...
For legal reasons, I think it is a parody.
It is a parody of the Traders. Anyway, that was a very, very long way of saying, welcome, Alex.
Hello, Teresa.
Hey, thank you so much for coming.
It's nice to get G'd up like that. I've not had someone be so, hype me up in that way in a while. It's really...
I know. We don't really do that very well whenever we're introducing comedians here, do we? We're sort of like, this next person says name, that's it.
Usually it's
we don't really get
a woman.
Yeah.
You know, that'll be the key thing I see said, is just like, what is their... What isolates them from the rest of the bill tonight?
Now we have a female comedian. Oh my God. Actually, when people ask me, I've had someone say, like, how would you like to be introduced? I have no idea. I'm just like, I don't know. I used to say, you can say you found me in the back of a skip or, something like that. Like some sort of like ridiculous, like riding myself down. But anyway.
I tend to have a problem if I'm emceeing, which I do very infrequently because of this issue, where I'll start by saying something really quite glowing about the first person to come up, and then I feel the need to constantly...
match that for everyone.
Not just the increment on it, because it's like, well, the night's going on. And so I've had issues where it's like, my significant others have been on the bill.
Yeah.
But they're midway through the bill. So I sort of lead with saying, like, this person is the love of my life, please wait. And then I'm like, I need to go
you have to
further
top
than
that for the next one.
For like Pete Giffen, Which I love Pete, but it's difficult
How do you
to
top
match
the
that
love
energy.
of my life? You're just like, this person is God incarnate.
I would give every vital organ in my body for Pete Giffen, ladies and gentlemen.
I would not be good at emceeing only because of my memory. I would forget names. I would literally have to have it all written in front of me. And I think that's just the age I am at the minute. It's not, no disrespect to anybody. I'm terrible at remembering comedians' names.
I've got constant name blindness.
Yeah.
It does help that everywhere we go, our jobs permit having a list of everyone's name written down.
Yes.
But I'll be in situations. I had a thing because I did improv for a little bit.
Oh, did you?
Yes, it was fine. I much prefer knowing what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
It was good to learn how scary it is to not have a script.
Yes.
Which you would know. You've got experience in this as well.
Free yourself from that. Yeah.
Yes.
Free yourself from the burden of knowing what's happening next.
It was just, there was something about like the laughs you got in improv were like, this is nice, but also it feels like it's the chaos earned this, not me.
I'm not sure you were doing it right.
No, probably not. But I had an issue. Was I did a gig there once, and someone who I won't name, was in the audience, and they were being very pleasant. I'd met them before, and I'd forgotten their name in the moment because I'd just come off of the stage, and so I was like kind of like still disconnected from the character, and I thought I was styling it out. We'd spoken for like 10 minutes, and I was like, oh, everything's fine. And there was a group of us around. And as I was leaving, I made the really stupid mistake of like saying goodbye to everyone by name, starting from the other end of the line.
Do you often do that?
No. And for
like in the Sound of Music?
For some reason, I thought it would like kickstart the bit of my brain that was like, I'll remember his name. And then I got to it, and it was so much worse because I just built up this full line of
roll call.
I literally know everyone here but you.
And goodbye you.
Yeah.
You wee cutie pie.
He runs a gig now.
Oh, right, okay.
I think he's forgiven me. I hope he's forgiven me.
No, I'm terrible, and I don't know what the polite period of time is before you can actually say, sorry, I've forgotten your name. Like if you don't say it within the first couple of minutes, then for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to just not use your name. Do you know what I mean?
I think it needs to not be a faux pas. I think it like societally, that's the big thing I'd change is like there needs to be no stigma around. If people forget my name,
who are you?
Yeah, that should be fine. I answered the phone like that once recently, where someone started talking to me very kind of knowingly, and I was like, who is this?
Oh, it's easier on the phone though, isn't it? You can pretend, because like my mum does this really well for my dad. if anybody comes over to speak to him, she'll instantly jump in and go, "Hi, I'm Paula. Sorry, who are you?" You know, as because it's easy to take the pressure off. But
I've tried that though, but people don't tend to like. I've had this where I'm with one of my partners or something. I'm with like someone who doesn't know someone who I'm talking to, and I'll be like, "Oh my god, this is hi, this is such and such."
Yeah. And they still don't introduce themselves.
No, they won't do it.
Where does this arrogance come from? I can't get over it. Maybe it's my self-esteem. But if I see someone that I know and haven't seen in a while, I'll remind them of who I am. Like if I see Fraser in the mornings, I'm like, "Hi, I'm Teresa." Yeah. You know, I'll always start by saying, "It's me, Teresa, your wife."
The other person who lives in this house.
But if I see someone from like school or someone you worked with years ago, I would start with, "Hi, I'm Teresa. Do you remember we used to go to school together?" I'm amazed at the confidence of people who just walk up and go, "Do you remember me?" Because the question will always, the answer will invariably be no. But I'll always go, "Of course I do."
On the way here at the bus stop, a guy walked up to me and said, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And it's like, how could I possibly know that?
Yes.
Like it was
I don't know how to help you.
He seemed nice, but he was just like, "I recognise you from somewhere." It was like, "I do live on this street. You might have seen me."
We had this is a very dark conversation that somebody, both my husband and I were in hospital with a relative who was getting some pretty dark, serious news. And the consultant was talking to this relative in really like hushed tones and being very sort of, delivering some bad news. And then she turned to both me and Fraser and said, "Do you have any questions?" And we were like, "No, thank you." And then she just went, "Do I know you from somewhere?" Right? And we're sitting in this like hospital ward, and I didn't want to go, "Yeah, you've probably seen stand-up comedy." And we were like, "No, I don't think so." And then she, the doctor, went, "Oh, I've seen you in the black box, both of you." And we were like, "Oh yeah." So we started having this like lovely reminiscent conversation about a gig she'd been to. Meanwhile, this relative sitting there going,
quietly
"Excuse me."
sobbing.
Sorry, back to my bad news. Oh yeah, sorry. But yeah,
I had
it can
with
happen anywhere.
a partner. He was getting some surgery a few years back, and just before he went under, he was being taken into the operation room. And just before he went under, one of the guys said, "Oh, you run Only Connect," and then gone. And it was like, what a horrible experience.
Don't even get to reply. Well, speaking of Only Connect, so Alex, you explain to me what it is that your role is in all of these quiz shows.
So it's very sort of dependent on the show. Like I've kind of become a gun for hire on the unscripted television scene. So the majority of my work is in question writing. So for a lot of quiz shows, I will sort of write and research whatever the format of question is.
Yeah.
And they usually pay sort of either by the day or by the question, depending on the show. In Only Connect's case, it is very much like you present them with a whole like smattering of questions once a year, and they will sort of pick the ones they want to use, and then they pay based on that. So it's very much sort of like quality dependent in a way that's like quite tricky.
And it's not just like you're not just writing like pub quiz questions. Like these are really difficult. Like these are high level, difficult. The most difficult questions on quiz shows, really, if you're talking about Only Connect.
It was quite weird. So Only Connect was sort of my first role. I did Mastermind sort of around the same time, but I got into Only Connect. I had applied for Only Connect to be a contestant 4 times.
Right.
And I'd been rejected 4 times. And I think I had a bit of a breakdown on the 4th go around where I was just like, I'm never going to get onto this show.
Do you have to audition for it? Is that what you mean? Oh, right, okay.
So I'd auditioned with, I think my teams were the DeLoreans, the Queenies, the McMillans, and the Dwarfers was my other team.
Okay.
So Red Dwarf fans, Back to the Future fans, people who went to Queen's University, and people I am blood related to.
So you were trying different combinations, different teams?
Yeah.
Right.
And none of them got on, and I was the only common
And you were blaming them.
between them.
You're useless. Next.
And so it was really funny. So the team that was me, my cousin, and my uncle was so stressed. It was a Zoom interview, but he was so stressed.
Yeah.
He was like chain smoking before the audition. And
During
I was like,
it as well.
I didn't know he smoked. So I was just like, this was so stressful for him, like being on a Zoom call that I think it was Skype at the time. That's how long ago it was. Like he turned to like
whiskey,
soft drugs. But yeah, I auditioned 4 times.
Wow.
And on that 4th time, I was like, I'm never going to get on this show. but I just want to be involved with it so badly. And as part of like practicing for it, I had spent a long time like writing questions in the style so that I could sort of like predict things that would come up. So there was like one question in one of the auditions I had that it was a sequence, and it was a word with a silent A in it, a word with a silent B in it. And from seeing the first word having a silent A in it, I was like, okay, well, that's the natural start of a sequence. So we know we're building to silent D. Mm-hmm. And I was sort of able to like spin out the whole logic of it without needing to see any of the other clues, which I thought was quite impressive, but I guess the producers disagreed.
But you're fine about it now, clearly.
I know, I'm fine. Yeah, no hard feelings. So after that fourth time, I messaged one of the head writers. I didn't have any like credits in the industry before this. And I just said, hey, I would really like to write for the show. Can I just send you like a test set to see what you think? And I got quite lucky that it seemed like they'd had a gap. Like I think someone had left. Mm-hmm. They were like, yeah, sure, we can entertain that. We'll humor you, send us a set of 20. And they really liked them. And so they were like, yeah, we'll happily bring you on. And thanks to that, I've been able to get basically every other job off the back of that, because it's like, oh, you write for Only Connect. That's
high
That's
level,
a nightmare. Yeah, you can write for Tipping Point. Sure, why not?
No, don't be running down Tipping. But well, what's the easiest one to write for? Or are they all difficult in their own ways?
They're all difficult, because that's the thing. So people would say like, I think Tipping Point is more than happy to acknowledge it is not a difficult quiz. Mm-hmm. But writing easy questions is just as hard as writing difficult questions, because you need to gauge like what is easy, what is too obvious, what is still narrow. That's the big thing, is like when you're writing like questions in the style of a pub quiz, so like that, like quick fire, like stuff you'd see on The Chase. The answers need to still be tight. So it's like you need to ask a question where it's like they can't say 50 different things and they're all right. So like I wrote recently was like, what do people do with their hands during a standing ovation? And it's like, that would be clap, but it could also be applaud. It could also be like make noise. Like, it's probably a little too wide as it is. That's why a lot of questions have these like little tighteners on the front of them. And that's actually something that a lot of quizzers that's the like cheat code for a lot of good quizzers, is they do a thing called meta quizzing, which is they will look at the sort of keywords you put at the beginning of a question, and they know what the answer is before you've said the full question.
Oh my goodness me.
If I was just to say to you like, which Icelandic singer, you already know the answer. I don't need to ask you the rest of the question.
Oh, that's what you mean. So instead of which singer, if you say Icelandic, that's the key to it's Bjork.
Yeah. If I say radio soap, there's only one thing it can be. I don't need to ask you anything else. I just name a radio soap.
That's amazing. What a way to get into it as well. Just to be sort of like, I'm going to take this down from the inside. I'm going to get in here and bring this company down. And it turned into a whole career for you.
It's been really like, it is the joy of my life at the moment, is like sort of watching that go out every week and sort of seeing. I think what I love about specifically Only Connect, and I think it's like why it's my sort of like first love in this space, is it really sort of celebrates the questions, like more so than any other show. It's like there are like 12 questions an episode, and they really take time unpacking them, and you really take time to see the contestants like trying to work them out. And when a question is good, I see a lot of like response on social media where it's like, that question was great. And you don't really get that on other shows. So it's like really quite pleasing.
Yeah. And in terms of the 1% Club, which is the one, that's probably the quiz out of all of those I would watch the most. Do you write questions that are designed to break up marriages? Because I will sit and watch it. And there's been a lot of times in our house where we've watched that and fallen out, mainly because I will insist that the way the question was worded, it could have been another answer. So it mustn't have been any of your questions, Alex. I'll just say
I tighten, you know me, very tight.
But yeah, that's it. That's one that's really taken off, hasn't it? That's like one of the most. That's the biggest quiz show in the UK at the minute.
It's what we on the scene call a super format now, because it's sort of taken off. I think it's like 60 countries or something. It's like,
wow,
there's like versions of it everywhere. So it's sort of in that vein of like the way Big Brother took off, or the way the like recently the Traders took off. Which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit.
So you write questions and that's sort of like its own sort of bit of work, but you also design games in their entirety, which is another set of skills entirely. Is that before we get into the Touts and how you've done that? Have you done that with other formats? Have you come up with other games?
Oh yeah, I've got notebooks full of like my takes on how to rebuild like game shows, my takes on how to like reinvent certain game shows.
Okay.
It is the sort of like thrill of my life. I love the way game shows work. I just love how you take a sort of system of a game and you sort of entrust it to a group of players, and you see how they like deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the reason I kind of like got in through the side door into the TV industry with Only Connect and that sort of stuff. Was my dream is to design like shows that like go on to like have these sort of fandoms.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite shows that you can't watch over here is Survivor. I love Survivor. And I think the reason I love that so much is it's a really simple rule set. Like it's sort of simple in the way that like chess is simple, and then the game develops from like people trying to like compound strategy on top of that. Like basically Survivor is just the weakest link without the questions.
I was going to say, it was never over here. Was there never a British version
We've
of that?
had two versions and both of them were quite bad.
They're not, so that's not the same as the one in the States, for example, that's massive.
Yeah, I think we had one in like the 2000s. I know Zoe Lyons was on it. Before she was a comedian, and then we had one a few years back that Joel Dommett did that was flawed for reasons that I wish I could have fixed by being in the room.
Oh right, okay.
Not that I'm the holy grail of TV production.
Yeah,
but
but when you can see what's working and why it's not working, that must be very frustrating to watch.
So frustrating. And it's sort of how I lead a lot of emails, like prospectively when I'm reaching out to companies, I'm like, hi, I can fix your show.
Oh, I'm sure they love that.
Oh yeah, no, they're very, very humble TV producers.
I'd love to get a message like that. Like, I've seen what's wrong with your act. Here's the.
Well, that's why I'm here today. I think I can fix this podcast. I think
you probably could. You'd be good at formatting and everything. So this idea of like gaming and question writing and everything. Have you always been like this? Were you like this as like a little kid?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like
so you like designing games. Do you have siblings? I don't know.
Yeah, I've got two siblings, and one of them quite a bit older. Don't really see her as much, but even she would know like from a young age. Like I was the person I am now. I always was this person. I would like draw mazes as a kid. I remember being in primary school, like P4, and like at break time, I would like gather a group of children. Like, we're going to play Jungle Run. Like
gather round.
I have the game show in my head, and you're the contestants on it, and I'm hosting it, and we're gonna go around. So I've just always done this. It's just now I get relatively paid for it
in comparison to what you were doing in the primary school playground.
It was unpaid child labour at the time, and now it is slightly more paid.
Were you a competitive family? So if you were like playing games together or board games or anything like that, was there competition?
I suppose like a little bit. So me and my younger sister Esme, we would like play a lot of like stuff together, but mostly it was a case of like she would watch me play stuff. Well, she was happy with that,
and she should be. Yes.
But I think the tables have turned a bit. I sort of watch her now play like various games that come out because I'm just too tired.
Yes. We love a game in our house, but we are a very competitive family. And I think I've told this story before about when we used to go on holidays together, like camping, caravanning type holidays with my parents. We would bring Monopoly and Scrabble and all that sort of thing, but the arguments and the fallout would mean like holidays were ruined at times because people weren't speaking the morning after. Like it wasn't even like, it was like a big night out where everyone got pissed. It was just like a game of Monopoly would shatter the family. So we were in Donegal just this one time in a caravan.
Where dreams go to die.
I love Donegal. And we were there in a caravan, 6 of us in a 4-berth caravan, and another family had arrived and were pitching their tent just beside us. And then that night we all played Monopoly, and there was screaming. Like it was mainly my dad and me and my sisters. That's where the screaming would be. Massive big rows about who owed who money. And the next morning, my dad was out having coffee and just watched this family pack up their tent and then drive about 50 feet up the hill and start to put their tent up again. And he was just like, right, Livingstone, family meeting, Livingstone.
Still within eyesight. Like that's the...
Oh, it was very pointed, like, shut the fuck up. So, yeah.
And Monopoly is like such a purposely terribly designed game as well. I'm like amazed it exists as like one of the big.
Have you written to them? You're like, dear Mr. Monopoly, let me list what's wrong with this game. You must hire me.
It was designed originally as like it was a thing called the Landlord's game, and it was essentially a project that was being made to show like, hey, capitalism will eventually fail. No, it will eventually fail. Oh. Like it will eventually all the assets will end up with one person, and everyone else will be bankrupt. And then Milton Bradbury were like, oh, we could market that. And so it just became a component of capitalism again.
So wait, somebody was put that together as a demonstration to make a point.
Yeah. And then the board game designer was like, oh, no, we could. It's a similar thing you saw with like Squid Game recently, I would say, where like Squid Game was designed to be this thing. It was like, isn't the reality show dreadful culture awful? And then Netflix was like, I suppose we could make a game show out of it, maybe.
Can we shoot people in the head? I mean, that would be profitable. Let's do it.
I mean, that'd be a disclaimer. I did work on Squid Game: The Challenge season 2.
Did you? So, in that sense, obviously, you're coming up with the challenge type tasky things,
which is so weird when you're designing for like 456 people, because it's like no game plays with that number. Like, I think one of the things we designed that got on that I sort of put forward was this idea of just like counting to like 4 minutes 56 in your head.
Oh my god!
And then essentially the idea was that there was a button that would activate. It would be, if you pressed it before 4 minutes 56, you would lose, and if you pressed it after 4 minutes 56, you would win. And it's just you. The idea was going to be two people, as you and one other person standing face to face. And what was so tricky about designing games for that was like they need to be skill based. They can't be luck, really, but also they can't be biased to any one particular kind of person. And with a pool of 456 people, it's like that's basically every demographic. It's like, how do you design a game that's fair for a group of nearly 500 people? It was great, but it was a nightmare.
I hope I never wrong you, because these are sort of torturous type scenarios that you can come up with.
I mean, I don't know if I would consider them full-on torture devices.
Having to count to 4 minutes 56, I think so.
I've put you in torture situations.
You have, actually. I was coming on to that. So the Touts, Alex, for anybody who doesn't know, I know there's another one is coming up in Belfast shortly.
6, the Hex.
This is the 6th go at it.
Yeah, we're doing 6 now.
So, for anyone who's not aware, Alex and Sarah Furby run this game. How often would you do it? Every couple of months?
We're trying
to, like, year?
My goal is like 3 times a year, and then I think realistically it ends up being closer to 2. I think we've decided any more than 3 and it wouldn't feel special when it comes around. But any less than 3 and we lose the sort of frequency that like keeps it in people's head. Yeah.
Hey, I am going on tour with my new show, Nice Lady, and tickets are available now. So I will be in Edinburgh, Belfast at the Lyric Theatre, Armagh, Manchester, Lisburn and Derry. Tickets are available now on my website, teresalivingstone.com. So it's a live version, it's a live game being played, and you usually involve comedians or local actors or
people about town.
And we play the Northern Ireland version of the Traders, which is, of course, the Touts. And this is the thing I love. So instead of Traders, we're Touts, and instead of Faithfuls, we're loyalists.
I had half of the work for that. So when I was like planning this out, I had Touts. I knew I wanted to be Touts. I couldn't figure out what Faithful was, and I have to give credit to Rose Coogan, so another person from the scene who put forward like, oh, you could do loyalists. And I was like, great, that's it, sorted.
It's so funny.
I didn't need to do any more work on that.
And it's funny how quickly you get into it. It feels like its own thing. Although it is based on the Traders, and you come out as Claudia as the host and everything. It does become its own. It's not quite the same. It is a sort of spin-off or a different version, your own version. Yeah. I have never had as much fun participating in something and likewise being so nervous and stressed in my life as doing the second Touts. So the first one I did, I was a loyalist. And that was great crack, because you're just there. Basically, there's 10 of us. We're round a table. There's a live audience, and there's a series of clues, and we're having to determine who the Touts are. And Alex will have met with them previously and identified them and whatever. It was great fun trying to find a tout. And then in the last one, I was a tout, and I have never been so nervous in my life. I thought I was a good liar, but I'm not.
You made it to the very end, though.
Well, I did. Well, kind of. No, I got voted out right
just
at the
before,
very end.
Just before, like you didn't win, but like you got as close as you could. And like I had
Yes.
given you a really horrible role. Like I had entrusted you as like at the time you were going into the start of the game, you were the only tout, which is not a thing that happens on any version of the traders. Like they don't have any singular person who's like.
The worst part was, I think once we got into the actual live game, I relaxed. But you see the build up to it, I was like, I actually can't do it, because I had decided I wouldn't tell Fraser either, because he was going to be watching the live show, and he had said to me, don't tell me if you're a tout or a loyalist, because I want to enjoy it. So for about 5 days in between meeting you, when you told me I was going to be a tout, and I honestly felt like I was having an affair because I was going to Fraser. I was just like really conscious that if I was on my phone, he might see a message from you, or then I'd be like, I'm just popping out to the shops here, and he's like, what for? And I'm like, just going to get carrots, coming up with like totally implausible things.
I'm in your phone as Pilates instructor.
I'm just going out here. I was so, and then he said to me, he said to me, are you a tout? And I went, no, and then just started laughing. I was like, I'm not going to be able to do it. I can't do it. But there's something. It's maybe the stage magic. Once your nerves sort of go away, if you're used to going on stage or whatever. But I loved it. I absolutely loved doing it.
It's so nice how much everyone seems to enjoy it when they do it.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because I have no idea how it feels. Like I've never been in that position. I've only ever like been walking around the table. I've never sat at it. And
I guess the other thing is you get a real mix of people playing it. So you'll have people who have got massive, big followings. You've got like Shane Todd and excuse me, and Mickey Bartlett. You've got like big guys who are quite big in the comedy world. And then you've got other people who maybe don't have as big a platform or as big an audience, but it doesn't really matter, because once you're in the game, everyone's just in the game. And yeah, it's really lovely in that way. There's no headliners, is what I'm trying to say. Is everybody's kind of on an equal footing.
And that's sort of quite a big point of it, which was a thing that I think Sarah landed on quite early doors, which was explaining to people when they go on to do it. It's like, you don't need to tell jokes. Like, don't worry about actually trying to be funny. Just play the game. And you're naturally funny people. It will come out in the wash.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's so great about like bringing people from different levels and different like scenes together. Is it like provides it's not just like fun to watch. I think it does genuinely like help establish connections that wouldn't otherwise exist, which is really nice.
So when is the next one?
Next one is on July 31st. I think tickets are on sale shortly.
Okay, excellent. And you haven't announced who will be taking part.
No.
You sort of do that you tease that out over a period of weeks, don't you?
Yeah, that I stay far away from the sort of drip feed of the names. That is, I know who they are, but I'm trying to like play with an even keel. So I will not bias myself towards any people. I'm just like waiting for the answers to come in from people so I can build who the touts are.
Yeah.
Because
it's so exciting.
I love it. And again, it kind of stemmed from me being spiteful towards the TV industry, where when traders
got to them,
you'd be surprised, Teresa. I sort of, when traders became big, like I love it like everyone else does.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a flawed game. I think it's a bit of a broken game. I think it succeeds despite being a broken game.
Yeah.
But the Touts is sort of my like way of
correcting it.
Correct, like showing like, okay, here's how you could do it in a way that's different and more skill based, more knowledge based.
Do you think it's flawed as in it's not set up to actually get to the end? Like if the Touts are all found quite early on, the fact that you have to recruit to keep the game going, is that one of the things you think?
So that's the thing.
Flaw?
So it being based on Werewolf or Mafia, which is the sort of games that traders came from, those are games that are supposed to be able to end like at any time, but TV needs a certain like run of episodes.
Yeah.
So the traders has to do this weird arbitrary thing where it's like, okay, well, when you catch one, we have to replenish.
Yes.
And that obviously comes with the problem of like, and I think they've discovered this quite early on in the show, which is like, okay, well, once we know if you're a trader, we actually don't want to get rid of you. The other problem is it's basically a pure discrimination game at the start. Of it's just like,
Yeah,
who's different from me?
That has come through, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And then you saw that a little bit with the celebrity one, where it tended to be who are the lesser known celebrities. They were the ones being voted. Nobody was going to vote Stephen Fry out in the first, like in the first round. Excuse me again. Desperate.
We synchronized. That was nice.
But no, what was I going to say? Oh, I've forgotten what I was going to say now. It was something about the
Stephen
celebrity
Fry
traitors.
and the sort of hierarchy of the celebrities.
Yeah. I mean, I love the traitors. And I think people either love it or hate it. I'm desperate to get my parents to watch it because I know they'll like it. But they just kind of, it was too confusing. The first couple of episodes, too confusing. We're out.
It's a style of reality television that I'm like super fascinated with that never really worked in the UK. I like wrote a big piece about this just on a blog that no one reads, but it was about the sort of idea of like reality television just means different things everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And in the UK, what it usually means is either an expert or the great British public is going to determine who is the best.
Right.
So it's either like Big Brother or the X Factor, where it's like, okay, this is essentially a general election. It's just you can vote on who you want to win, that person will win. Or it's like The Apprentice or Drag Race, where it's like, okay, here is an expert in their field and they're going to choose who matches their level of skill.
Yeah.
But reality in other places is here is a group of people playing a game and they are the voter base. So it's like Survivor is essentially the weakest link. Without quiz questions, it's just, okay, I get to choose to vote you out and you go home. And Traitors is that. Traitors is like trying to find the traitors. But in most stages, it is just, are you in my group or not?
Yes.
And if you're not in my group, I'm going to get rid of you. And I love that style of game. But it's never worked in the UK because it's seen as really nasty.
Yeah.
And I think
Which we're famously not.
We're famously not. But if you look back to like early days Big Brother with like Nasty Nick, and that was like a big national scandal of like, oh my God, he wrote something down.
Remember, he wrote some notes down and everyone was like, he should die.
It was so funny. The bit that people don't get scandalous about is him claiming he had a wife that like died in a car crash. It's like,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that bit doesn't come up. It's that, no, but he had a pencil, guys.
Yeah. Get him out. I know that was mental.
But that really tainted.
That really
like,
did, yeah.
For like 20 years, it was like you can't be seen as a game
bad
player.
guy.
If you're seen as a game player, you're a villain and you need to be punished for that. And Traitors came in and kind of established a sort of panto role that's like, no, you can be a villain, you're allowed.
Yeah.
There's like a specific kind of villain that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing that happens when you play Touts. It's you kind of role play. You kind of like,
You do.
You're allowed to be a bit of a bastard.
And it sort of does kind of lean into it. Gets that the paranoia that people feel. It's. I find it really fascinating to see when people are unsure of something, they'll cling to a group. So that's in the early episodes of any episode of any series of Traitors, you see that when nobody really has anything to go. Well, they never really have anything to go on concrete at any point.
That's the big.
But
fix.
they'll convince themselves that it's evidence and that it's
Yeah. That's the big thing that gets me whenever I watch Traitors is seeing people attempt over and over again to establish like, well, we've got
The
a pattern.
facts.
Yeah, it's like, you have no facts. You will never have any facts.
The only time I saw that and it got dismissed straight away was in the celebrity one when Stephen Fry said, I've forgotten her name. Kat.
Yeah.
He said, the Touts must be up late, so they must be very tired. And I saw Kat taking a nap today and I was like, that's the first piece of, that is evidence.
Yep.
That's the only time I've seen somebody actually go, so therefore, and she was very good at being like, no, I'm sorry, I have autism and I need to rest. And, she was really quick to sort of bat it away.
Bless you. That's the first time anyone has said tout but meant traitor. That's never happened before.
There you go.
But like that is a big thing. That is the only information you get is the traitors have to do a different production schedule. But and this is a thing they don't tell you, like the show does not let you talk about the show. If you ever watch The Traitors, they'll never discuss the fact they're on a TV show. It all sort of like is this separate universe.
Yeah.
So even Stephen Fry saying that was like kind of a faux pas.
Breaking the rules a wee bit.
But like there's a Belgian game show that I adore called De Mol, which became The Mole all over the world. But this is a thing that you see contestants on that use. It's essentially The Traitors, but there's only one.
Yeah.
And they can never go home. It's like you're trying to figure out who it is, and at the end of every episode, whoever knows the least about them is eliminated.
Oh yes, I've seen an American version of that.
The Belgian version is the best thing
Is
ever. It is so good. So, but like you see people, there's this one clip where the woman who is the mole sort of like goes to speak to someone else, sort of one-on-one, and this woman goes, your hair's a little different. And she's aware that like the mole just went and did something that required them to put a helmet on. And so she's like, I'm just clocking that you've moved your hair.
Oh my goodness.
And it was like such a subtle little thing, but it's like that is the sort of thing that would actually like clue you into these things. Give you some
evidence.
But the show won't let you really talk about it.
It's a bit like The Bachelor and all that, isn't it? Where they're not allowed to say that they're in a show. They have to pretend that they're actually looking for love with 25 beauty queens.
I only found out on Married at First Sight they don't actually get married.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it was legally binding.
Oh, no. The very first time I saw it, oh, God, well, let's not get into maths. It's gone very dark and sinister,
I forgot about the
hasn't it?
scandal, yeah.
Jesus. The very, very first time I saw that on TV over here, it was age. It wasn't like the production it is now. It was
like a documentary
It was like a
style
documentary, and I thought it was real. I don't know if they were real or not. But no, they're not. No.
It's
anyway.
all lies. My whole industry is built on lies.
Yes. This podcast is called Scundered, Alex, and enough of your successes. Let's talk about times you have failed. Do you get embarrassed easily?
I think I do get embarrassed quite easily. I tend. Sorry.
Let's have some non-alcoholic drinks.
I could really wet my whistle, please.
Would you like?
Do you have any non-alcoholic aperitifs?
I do. Well, the Sober Irish have provided us with lots of drinks, and actually, this one I have never tried. It is, if you like an Aperol spritz, it would be a non-alcoholic.
Sans the spritz.
Sans spritz, sans alcohol. So let's just have a wee taste test of it. This is not the way that it's meant to be drunk. Clearly, you're meant to have a nice.
I think I suspect you can. No, drinking it lukewarm from a little glass. That's the way I would. That's the way I drink it. Okay.
Bet it's lovely. Oh, actually, it smells exactly like it.
I'm on the island of Capri.
I am actually pleasantly surprised at how nice that is.
That is fruitier.
It is fruitier.
It's actually making me appreciate that most of the time I do drink an Aperol spritz, I'm mostly focused on the spritz, and actually.
You should be savouring this.
They should be savouring the Aperol.
That's actually very nice. Yeah, it's made with distilled bitter orange and rosemary. That's very nice.
You can taste it.
So yeah, that's just for our wee throats there. Embarrassing. So you do.
I feel sort of a long tail of shame. Okay. Like if I feel shame, I will feel like something happened to me.
You'll feel it for a long time after you meet. Yeah.
Something happened to me 3 weeks ago, and I'm still like processing the sort of the short term memory of it.
Yes.
And it was not so like. I don't know if you knew the Gladiators were in town recently.
I did not.
I love the Gladiators, and some of my favourites were in Victoria Square, such as Sabre and Athena. Big fan.
What were they doing?
Just sort of just posing for photos with children mostly, which is what I went there and then
tried to pretend to be one.
Yeah, no, it doesn't really work for me. I tried crouching in the queue, but that looked worse. No, it was a queue of like basically all children and parents, and me as an individual adult. I felt I couldn't queue for an hour to meet these two.
You should have been like, the kids are in the shop. I'm just keeping their place here. Yeah.
So I saw them from afar, and I was like, that's great. They're there. Maybe I'll get to say hello to them in another lifetime. Yeah. And then I went about my day, and then as I was walking back towards like Cathedral Quarter, Nitro, the sort of tall, blonde, dare I say Aryan-looking gladiator.
You wanted to say the best one. Is that what you're saying? I'm going to look him up.
He's a very chiseled man. He sort of looks like a cartoon villain, I think.
Okay.
Does Nitro. And he was sort of in an incognito hoodie.
Yeah.
But he was still with two guys wearing Gladiators hoodies, so I knew it was him.
Nitro is black. That's Nitro there.
Hang on a second.
Hey, he's the guy. He's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, let's go back. I'm talking about Bionic.
Oh, Bionic, of course. Hang on.
Bionic is about as far Nitro as you can get.
That's the way you described him, as Aryan. I was like, I don't think so.
No, very much not.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That one.
Okay, Matty Campbell is his real name. That's less impressive.
So he was walking past, and I said, "Hey, Bionic," and I did say Bionic. I didn't say Nitro at that time, and he just fully blanked me. but like aggressively blanked me.
Okay.
You know when you can tell like he heard,
not
but
in
he's
character.
not responding.
Yeah.
But I'm like, look, I get you're still with your entourage that have the logos on. This is a role for life, okay? You knew what you signed up for.
I will be calling you Bionic till your dying day.
And I'm still processing that to the point that I've forgotten his actual name and been calling him Nitro.
Did you shout Nitro?
I did not shout Nitro. If I'd shouted Nitro, I think this would make a lot more sense. But I definitely said Bionic.
Listen, I know what you mean about the tale of shame. I was just telling the guys this morning. I was recording yesterday with Leanne McCooey on her lovely podcast.
Touts along.
And we this is so small, but it's still sitting with me, and I'm going to be laughing about this for the next couple of weeks. We were having a discussion about something to do with Armagh, right? And I happened to be wearing a red skirt and a white top. And she said to me, she gestured towards me and said, "Oh," and she meant as in, "You're in the colours of Armagh." But when she put her hand out, I went and gave her 5.
Yeah.
And as I did it, she went, "That's not what I was doing. I would never do that. I'm not putting my hand out for a gimme 5. I was pointing to your outfit." And I insisted that I didn't know what she was talking about, and I just kept trying to high-five her, and we didn't laugh about it.
High-fiving everyone else in the room.
It
It's a normal thing. It's what we all do.
I didn't acknowledge that it was a faux pas or that it was funny until today when I thought back on it, and I was like, that's absolutely excruciating. And she's filmed it. So her podcast, I think it's out. It might be out today. There'll be a clip of it where it's just her pointing at my outfit and me giving her 5. And then
she should be embarrassed about that. Like, oh, someone high-fived me and I wasn't ready for it. Like, that's equally as shameful.
I'm always ready. So yeah, give me that is an embarrassing story. I was going to say, have you embarrassed yourself in front of any other celebrities? You must have met quite a few.
I've had a few. I've had like some instances where I'm not as prepared as I would have liked to have been. Like, I think we all have these dreams of when you're going to meet someone like quite important that you're like, oh, I'm going to be so chatty and I'm going to look so
They'll
good.
never forget me.
Yeah. I had an incident in Edinburgh at the Fringe a few years back where I was sort of there on work. I'd been asked to go and like see some shows for like talent scouting, I suppose, in some way.
Oh.
But it was really just I wanted to go to the Fringe.
Yeah.
But I'd been asked to go and see this one specific show that was in the Old Town. It was on the other side of Edinburgh. And then I had like 10 minutes to get all the way across Edinburgh to the like shipping containers in the university.
Oh, yes, I know what you mean.
You know, the little area.
The assembly.
The assembly, that's the one. And the show I was at ran over. So I ended up having like 7 minutes because I had to like leave midway through the end of the show. And I full on sprinted across town because like it was Jordan Gray. This was like just before she'd like really taken off. I'd like managed to like get a ticket like quite last minute, but like the show had been like reviewing really well. And I knew if I wasn't there on time, like I wasn't getting in, I wasn't getting another ticket. So I like sprinted as fast as I possibly could through all these crowds. I was like dripping with sweat by the time I got there. And I was like, okay, I get to sit in a shipping container with no like aeration at all. But that's fine. And then I sat down and about 2 seats away from me was a man who really looked like Ian McKellen because it was.
Oh, no.
And I just was like, he's just breathing me in for a full
Can you
hour.
smell me, Sir Ian?
It was so awful because I was like, I'm not going to like go out of my way to like introduce myself to him anyway. But like at this point, it's like, I'm a puddle. You don't want to be remembered of all the senses. You don't want to be remembered for your smell.
I know. I'm not good at, if I see a famous person, I'm not good at either. I wouldn't know what to say. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather just not speak to them. If I was sat right next to them, I wouldn't acknowledge it because I'd be too embarrassed.
Yeah.
Just in my soul. Just embarrassed in general.
I had this with I was at a restaurant in Hollywood once with my grandmother. Quite a while back, and
Hollywood, Northern Ireland.
Sorry,
yes.
I did try to pronounce the singular L. Hollywood, and Van Morrison was sitting like a table away. I didn't know it was him, but my nan was like adamant, like that's Van Morrison, and she was like trying to like catch his eye to some degree. In a way, but it was so like, there's one thing I know about this man, and it's that he famously
loves people taking his photo.
I just remember overhearing him. He was like with two children.
Was he nasty?
He was fine. He was fine. It was just quite a depressing side of the times. Overhearing this bit of the conversation he was having with either his kids or his grandkids. I don't know who they were, but they were like quite young. They were probably like 12, and he asks them like, "What sort of music are you into?" And they say Rizzle Kicks. And just hearing Van Morrison really like depressingly say Rizzle Kicks. Just like knowing like, his time's up.
It's over. You don't like Van? You don't like a wee bit of your granny? No. Your granda? Oh, God.
I could get down with the trumpets if you'd let me.
Rizzle Kicks. I'm not going to tell the story. I was going to tell the story about bothering Jon Snow in a restaurant again, but I've already done that. So I'm going to ask you, let's see if I can tease some more embarrassing stories out of you. I'm going to give you some would you rathers. All right.
Okay.
And these are both embarrassing situations, and you tell me which one you'd prefer. Would you rather have to communicate solely through interpretive dance for a day, or speak only in puns?
Oh. I already do kind of speak only in
puns.
Stage character, basically, she only speaks in puns.
Oh, really? Is that? I'm not sure. Oh, so this is Kaylee Ray
Minogue, my better half.
Your stand-up persona. I'm not sure I would have thought of it as puns.
She does a lot of wordplay.
Okay.
But like
that is puns, yeah.
I think if I was just doing straight up puns, I think that would not feel as bad as I can't dance. Also, I think is the big problem. Is I've got my wingspan is very large.
Yes,
and so if I do start freely moving, I had an incident at like Filthy McNasty's R.I.P. Where it was like very crowded one night, and I was just trying to like maneuver my way through the bar, and I think I knocked over 7 glasses.
Oh my God.
But it got to the point that like on glass 3, like some women started calling security to be like, you need to get rid of them.
This is on purpose.
You need to get rid of them. And then, but like on glass 6, I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm just going to lean into
like,
this.
I'm like trying to like maintain it. So it's the idea of me like taking up any extra space. Oh no, awful.
I always firmly believe I'm a brilliant dancer. And for years I thought that. And then I saw a video of my first dance at my own wedding. And I was like, I apologise. I am not. But it never used to let me, it never got in the way of trying. Like I went through a phase of every time I'd be out, this is when I lived abroad, and I had a few drinks, I would attempt to do the worm. You know, the famous breakdance move,
familiar.
The worm. I was a woman, I was like a teacher. I was out with other teacher friends, and at every stage, same stage of the night, usually be about 11:30, I'd be like, clear space, and then do the worm. And again,
Miss Levinson's doing the worm.
Miss Levinson's doing the worm here. And it was only when I saw somebody had taken a video one night, I was like, I can't do the worm. I was basically throwing myself on the ground, just lying there and twitching. And people would just be walking. Nobody would be even like laughing. They'd all just walk away and be like, she's just doing the worm. Just leave. We'll get her a taxi.
Slithers into the boot.
Just like, I'm sure parents and everything were out at night just being like, I'm sure that's the music teacher from that school.
And there you go. We entrust our children to her, yes?
I know. And they were paying. That's the thing I feel worse about. The school I was teaching
You weren't
at
teaching
abroad,
dance.
I wasn't teaching dance. I was teaching everything else. It was a private school, but it was like a school for kids who were all from the island, from Gran Canaria, but they were all learning English. So that's why it was a private school. They were all being taught in English. And most of them spoke really, really good English, and my Spanish was a bit crap. So I had to teach in English anyway, until it would come to parents' nights. And the parents would come in. They didn't speak English, so we would either speak in Spanish or we would have an interpreter to do parents-teacher evenings. And I was like, okay, I'll just use the kids. They'll be, the kids are there. They can interpret for me. And the kids didn't think I spoke any Spanish. So I'd be sitting there, like I taught like GCSE history for a year, God knows why. But I was sitting telling this parent, I was like, could you tell your mum that I still haven't seen your coursework and that I need to see it by December? And she translated, everything's fine, everything's going really well, and she's very pleased with my work. And I was like, all right, Ines, I speak a little bit of Spanish.
I feel like
that's not what I said.
I feel like if I heard muy bueno, I've got an idea as to what's going on.
I think, and your mother's smiling, so no, tell her the truth. But Yeah, but I'd be out at most nights doing the worm.
I always forget you were a teacher.
Oh, aye.
Yeah. It explains why I get on with you so well, I
Why?
think.
Oh, were you a big teacher's pet?
I think I was a pleasure to teach. Yeah. I was very much so.
A pleasure to teach.
I was one of those children. My mum still has a report card from when I think it was like P6 or P7.
Yeah.
And they're all like nice comments except for English, it was like, really applies themselves in class. But there's just one bit where it's just like whimsical to a fault.
Okay, yeah.
And I've really held on to whimsical to a fault.
To a fault. I bet, PE wasn't saying that as well, were they?
No, I was not whimsical in PE.
I hated PE so much. Oh, my God. Would you rather have to communicate solely through interpretive dance for a day or speak only in puns?
I think puns, yeah.
Yeah, I think you go with puns. Okay, second one. Would you rather have to shake hands with yourself every time you meet someone or offer your foot to them as a handshake?
When you say shake hand like that,
just go, hello, and shake your own hand.
I reckon I could pull that off as like that's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
For me, like if I was pretending that I was like from a sort of enclave they'd not heard of, and I was like, this is a big thing on the Faroe Islands or something, that's easier to get away with than
offering them your foot.
Because also it's like there's so much stuff going on.
That's
down
horrible.
There.
I'm not a fan of feet.
Either they're not into that or they're way too into that.
I know. It'd be a way to figure out if somebody's kink, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Straight off. Just offer them your foot. Please don't put this in your mouth. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm very tired. I'm sorry. I was about to ask you about, what am I going to talk about feet now?
We can talk about feet. Okay,
I just have this really awful memory. Me and my sister were on holiday this is so random. We were in Prague on a weekend's holiday, and we were walking past. We'd been out drinking the night before, and we were trying to think of something nice to do the next day. And we walked past this Thai foot massage place, and I was like, "Will we go and get a Thai foot massage?"
Nice,
I had no idea what that means. So I was like, that'll be nice. We've been walking around the street. The two of us went in, and it was all serene and water everywhere and, lovely environment. And these two women lay us both down beside each other and then took out sticks and started to beat like the soles of our feet. Now, I'm not sure if that's a Thai foot massage or where I was.
Hey, should we go get beaten up recreationally?
It was awful. And I was sort of looking at my sister, just being like, is this supposed to be happening? She's like, I don't know, but we're not going to ask. We're too embarrassed. We'll just sit here. And it was the most excruciating thing I've ever had to lie through. And I'm too afraid to look up if that is actually what happens in a Thai foot massage, or if I just went to some. I'm going to look it up. What happens in a Thai foot massage?
This is a picture of Nitro again.
That's what happens. Anything I Google, it's just Nitro, and I tell you, he's black. He's black.
Really into Nitro here.
Thai foot massage.
I mean, I've definitely heard of Thai foot massage being like painful.
Yeah. Yes. Focuses on the feet and lower legs, utilising hands, thumbs, knuckles, and wooden sticks.
Some gentle stabs.
I don't recommend. I mean, yeah.
I definitely have that. I think you just have a different style of etiquette when you're in a spa setting. Like you just assume they know what's going on.
This is what I think it's a very risky place, because you could tell me anything as part of a treatment and I will, and I'll lie there, and you could stand in my face and I'll be like, well, it's probably culturally fine.
You're so vulnerable as well.
Yes.
Like I went somewhere a little while ago and got like a full body wax.
Oh my God.
Which I wouldn't recommend. You do sort of shudder afterwards. Like your whole body is like in septic shock.
No.
But it was like midway through. Apologies. It was like midway through this, and she was going from left to right, which I thought was insane. So there was like, I assumed it would be like a top to bottom
or
deal.
Other way, yes.
Yeah. But she'd gone like left to right. So at the midway point of this wax, I could have done the full like
Victoria.
The Victor Victoria. And she'd been so like nice and chatty up until the midpoint. And then just at the midpoint, she started having opinions. She said stuff like...
What, about Brexit or just like about what she was doing?
A lot of black people on the BBC, aren't there? Stuff like that.
Oh my God.
And then she put the radio on. So it was on Classic FM, and she switched it over to Jeremy Vine.
Oh Jesus.
And I was like, I am trapped here now.
You can't leave.
I have to agree with everything she says.
Yeah.
And she was saying like, oh, they should do a version of Big Brother that's only got fat people. I was like, I guess so. I guess they should.
Fucking.
I was just so, because I was
like being held hostage.
I was like, what do I leave and like have one? I leave with a moral stance, but one really hairy side.
I feel the same about a hairdresser that I go to, where she has the most wild opinions. Yeah. But if she's cutting in a fringe and saying to me like, "There's a lot of foreigners about," that sort of thing, I'm just going to be like, I'll give you my opinion when you've finished, when you've got to the other side.
Anywhere around here, please.
Yeah. Oh, it's desperate. She, so full body walk. Oh my God, full body walks. I'm
the things I do for
thinking about it.
I think there was a time, definitely we were on the same bill one night, and I think I only came out to you. It was like, I waxed my legs for this. And
never waxed my legs for a gig in my life.
I'm wearing tights. I don't need to do that. Why did I do that?
No, don't do that. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
That's my advice. Well, listen, Alex, we've got the Touts coming up. Any other gigs or anything coming up for you?
I'm doing my solo show again. So I did my solo show at the beginning of the year.
Class.
It's called Emotional Roller Coaster. It was Kayla Minogue's story about wanting to ride the Hulk coaster in Orlando and the various reasons that she couldn't do that.
Okay.
And it does make sense.
Yeah.
It's actually a very touching show.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing that again on, I believe, the 8th of August. I might have the date wrong. It's at the Taking Up Space Festival in Accidental.
Oh, cool.
And then, all being well, I'll be doing it in Dublin at some point soon,
brilliant.
hopefully.
Oh, great. So, yes. So, it'll be the Taking Up Space Festival. And I haven't heard of this now. That's happening. Because I thought you were going to say the Bitter Fringes. That's the other thing.
It's part of the Bitter Fringe. I said it's part of it's attached to the Bitter Fringes.
Oh, very good.
Or it's like near enough to it. So I'm doing a gig with a few people called Typical Irish Women as part of the Bitter Fringes, where I'm emceeing and I'm going to do the escalating. I'm going to say that Sarah Jade is my biological mother or something. And then after that, I'm going to be doing Emotional Roller Coaster as part of the Taking Up Space. It's sort of for like Flint and queer women-led performances.
Brilliant.
Very nice sort of bill of people. I think sort of like Neve Wright and Sarah Jade and Kit Reese and stuff are on it.
Brilliant. Well, we'll look out for that. I will definitely come along to that. I didn't get to go to the last one. And you'll be doing it in Dublin at some point. So
fingers crossed.
Yay!
Yeah, all being well.
Yes, you will. We'll say it now. We'll manifest it. You're doing it in Dublin. Thank you so much for coming in.
It's been really lovely.
Yes, and we've had...
I love your living room.
Thank you. I live here. So cozy. And I'll see you soon.
I'll see you soon, Teresa. Thank you so much.